Hello, my name is Sarah and welcome back. Yes, I have not posted again for like 2 months, but whatever. I'm back because this is the moment that I have been waiting for all year. It is Jane Austen July! Woo! Guns. Cannons. That's more appropriate. Cannons. Like from the militia. Anyway. Okay, Jane Austen July. I have been so excited all year for Jane Austen July. This is the first year that I have a channel to do it, and also the first year that I'm really down to business for this. My whole year has basically been preparing for this moment. My whole year has basically already been Jane Austen July, without the official title. I have already consumed just vast amounts of Jane Austen stuff this year. I've watched so many adaptations. That's probably not healthy. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it even more. So this is my TBR. I've got about 1,000 things that I could pick. And because I'm not very decisive, I'm just going to show some options that I might go for. But yes, I'm so excited. I will link creators and the prompts, etc. And yeah, shall we get started for Jane Austen July? Yes, that's my best Regency accent. Yes. Right, so for the first prompt, and it's quite an obvious one, read one of Jane's 6 novels. And this is why I mean everything's been perfect. This year, before the announcer video came up, I had already decided I was going to read Mansfield Park, because it's the one that was on my last to like refresh, tick off of. It was the last on my list to refresh of. Does that make sense? It was the last one on my list to reread. That would make much more sense. And it's one that I remember the least about. And it's also the only one I didn't watch any adaptations from, because I was going to save it for July. And so we have Mansfield Park. This is like a really funky edition that I found on Vinted, and it's got a few like coloured illustrations, and it's got stuff about modern interpretations, Regency life, geographical settings, all related to Mansfield Park. Jane Austen timeline, principal characters, Jane Austen's England, the church, stuff that was happening in England around the time. And I just thought it was hella cool. Yeah, and there's like little coloured illustrations with the character list. So yeah, we are going to be reading Mansfield Park. I think it's 2 chapters a day, starting from the 1st of July. It takes us until about the end, I think it's like the 24th of July. So I'm really excited to reread this. And I will also be watching an adaptation. I've only watched in the past the Billy Piper one, which I know is not everyone's favourite. I liked it at the time, but like I say, it's been a long time since I've actually read Mansfield Park, so I didn't have like a fresh memory. I just watched it a lot when I had nothing to do and just enjoyed it. I'm quite easily pleased, I'll be real. I'm one of those rare people that don't mind the new Persuasion with Dakota Johnson. Yes, obviously it's not exactly like the book, but I just thought it was fun and silly, and that's all I wanted, and I liked it, so I'm quite easily pleased. But I try and watch a couple of each adaptations for research, also obsession. I just love period dramas. I just love them. The next prompt is not one of the main 6, so any other of Jane Austen's writings. So for this I have Lady Susan. I've not read Lady Susan. This Oxford World's Classic Edition includes Lady Susan, the Watsons and Sanditon. I have read the Watsons and Sanditon, but I have not read Lady Susan. Oh, this also has opinions of Mansfield Park, Emma, plan of a novel, and verses. Oh, an appendix of poem, prayers, and sermon scrap. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to read Lady Susan. I might read all of it. It's been, again, a long time since I read the others. But I'll see how it goes. Because my reading is a little bit... Again, it's not been the best reading year of my life. But all the things I have really enjoyed have been Regency or Austen related, to be real. I don't know why this is the year of the Regency for me, but it really is, and I've just got to lean into it and not, as I'm currently doing, leaning out of frame. I'm trying to show my little Austen corner. This is Jane. This is the unpractical reading editions I have. I do not read from them, which is why I've got these ones. The other Bennet sister. Kiss, 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 kiss you all. So yes, that's my not one of the main 6. What next? Next, non-fiction. Okay, hear me out. I'm going to pick up and show you first, and then explain myself. I'm not even exaggerating. Do you think this is doable? Do you think this is sensible? Is this a bit Mary Bennet of me? So I have options. I have options. So obviously I cannot read all of these. Would I like to? I would love to. I would love to dearly read all of these. But I just wanted to show you some options, because then it might inspire you, or you might tell me no, that is the worst book that has ever been written, and Jane Austen would be spinning in her grave if she knew I was reading it. So anyway, so the first one I have up is The Stranger's Family, The Private Lives of George III, Queen Charlotte, and the Hanoverians. You're like, huh? Well, obviously Jane Austen was alive during the Georgian period. We associate her with the Regency, but obviously the bulk of her life was with George III as her king. I mean, she died before George IV officially became king in 1820. And we know that she had opinions on the Prince Regent, the future George IV. And I've been so wanting to read this book. But it's a big lad. I'm just really fascinated by King George III and his illnesses and the relationship he had with his many children. Old Farmer George III. So yeah, that I would dearly love to read it, but it is maybe a bit of a lofty goal. But this is also Janice Hadlow of the other Bennet sister fame, so it would kind of feel like not sensible. It's massive, a good option. Then we have some more obvious ones. We have Jane Austen, The Secret of Radical by Helena Kelly, and yeah. It says, Austen expert Helena Kelly introduces the reader to a passionate woman living in the age of revolution, to a writer who used the lightest of literary genres, the novel, to grapple with the weightiest of subjects: feminism, slavery, abuse, the treatment of the poor, the power of the church, even evolution, at a time when to write about such things directly was seen as akin to treason. So this is one that I've been looking forward to read as well. And it's not one that I've really seen much about. But it's published by Icon Books, who I trust. They do some really fascinating non-fiction books. And so I thought that could be a good one. I've had that one for a while. Next up is more of like a general history of the era. And this is Eavesdropping on Jane Austen's England by Roy and Leslie Adkins. How Our Ancestors Lived 2 Centuries Ago. I really like books like this where you look at like the everyday life. Another one I could have picked up to show you is The Time Traveller's Guide to Regency Britain by Ian Mortimer, who did a whole series of Time Traveller's Guide, and that's where you learn just about everyday life. And this is going to be a similar vein, looking at agriculture, industry, invasion, revolution, the horror of ghosts and witches, bull baiting, highwaymen, and the stench of corpses swinging on roadside gibbets. I really did cherry pick all the most choicest of words there, didn't I? But yes, so that one sounds good. That's a maybe. We then have Lucy Worsley. I love Lucy Worsley. She's just a delight. Jane Austen at Home. I've owned this for ages, as you can see. It's a hardback edition. Haven't read it. Terrible. But we, as the group watch, will be watching the documentary. I think, yeah, Behind Closed Doors, which they're connected. So this one might be quite a good one. And I do already know that I enjoy Lucy Worsley's writing. Her Agatha Christie book was perfect. And her other ones, but that one was really good. So this one this one might be higher up on the list. This is quite a similar one. I've heard people compare the two and say perhaps sometimes they're a bit too similar, but that's Paula Byrne's The Real Jane Austen, A Life in Small Things. I think is it focused on the small things in her life. Yeah, each chapter begins from an object that conjures up a key moment from Austen's life, such as a silhouette, a vellum notebook, a topaz cross, a laptop writing box, a royalty check, a bathing machine, and more. So again, that sounds good. But I think if I was going to read one, I'd probably go for the Worsley one because of the group watch, but also because I have another Paula Byrne book about Austen, which is actually tickling my interest more, and this is The Genius of Jane Austen, her love of theatre and why she is a hit in Hollywood. I think because as part of the challenge of Jane Austen July is adaptations and retellings, that this would be a really interesting one to read. So this one is one of the ones I'm most likely to pick up out of my thousands. So I've also got some on my Kindle, but I'm not. I've got so many books, just too many books. That I can't list them all, but I do have two that I just wanted to mention that I have read and thought might be good options. This one's Rebel Queen, The Trial of Caroline by Jane Robbins, and on the front there's a little quote and it says, "Poor woman, I shall support her as long as I can, because she is a woman and because I hate her husband." And that was a quote by Jane Austen. Now the trial is technically, when I say technically, it happened after Jane Austen died. The trial was in 1820, and Jane Austen died a couple of years before, but she was alive during the majority of their marriage, and she, as I said in the other one, she had opinions on George IV. So I just think this is a really interesting one, and on the back is quotes from different people who were alive during the period. So it says, "It is open war and very dreadful. She really invokes a revolution." Fanny Burney. "I wish with all my heart downfall to her enemies." Mary Shelley. "In one of the most critical moments that ever occurred in this country, we have reason to doubt in the fidelity of the troops." Duke of Wellington. This was such a good book. I really enjoyed this one. So if you want a little bit about what was going on in the time, that one. And then we have Courting Disaster, Reading Between the Lines of the Regency Novel by Zoe McGee. I read this in November. This was kind of gifted to me by Manchester University Press. And yeah, this is about the Regency novel and consent in it, not just in terms of sex, but consent in the fact that, you know, women had no real agency back then, and so men were in charge of finances and decision making and, you know, consent in sexual activities. And this looks at different novels of the period and key moments regarding consent in that. And there is Jane Austen chapter in here. There's also looks at the book Clarissa by Samuel Richardson. There is Fanny Burney books in here. So here's chapters part 4 about marriage, and it looks at honouring engagement, which focuses on like Eleanor from Sensibility, The Price of Refusal, Fanny from Mansfield Park, Anne, or Negotiating the Future, Persuasion, etc. So this is really interesting. It's a little bit on the academic side, but it does feature like real life things that were happening as part of its sort of thesis. I just thought I'd mention it because it is really interesting and it would fit perfectly in with the time. And both looks at books published at the time and real events of the time. So that one I really recommend. Let's put these many books over there. That girl. Can't see them. Okay, so next, retelling or historical fiction set in Austen's time. I have quite a lot. And I'm doing a little mini project in the background to do with Jane Austen July that I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I will be reading many books set in that period and many retellings. But some other ones that I might also read, I've got 2 here. I've never read Longbourn by Jo Baker, which is obviously Pride and Prejudice, but from the perspective of those working in Longbourn. And Mrs. Hill. my beloved Mrs. Hill. Yes, so this one's high up on my list because it's like a must-read Pride and Prejudice retelling, and I've never read it. This is a random one I found, and this is called Mr. Darcy's Daughters by Elizabeth Aston, and this is about Elizabeth and Darcy's 5 daughters, set 20 years after Pride and Prejudice, and what they get up to, basically. And it says that we'll see Elizabeth's old nemesis, Caroline Bingley, the ever-reliable gardeners, and the wayward Aunt Lydia. So yeah, that's one option. I might read that. On my Kindle, I've got quite a few. A lot of them are Pride and Prejudice related. I'm pretty bad. A lot of my retellings are, well, there's so many more to do with Pride and Prejudice, isn't it? So I will try and have a look during the month of July for others. But I have things like Caroline Bingley Detective, which sounds really interesting. Introducing Miss Collins, that's a new one. Also, as part of the prompt is or historical fiction set in Austen time. I just have so many Regency romances, or just books set in the Regency era that I could read, that I will be fine. I'll be fine for that. Right, next prompt, by contemporary of Jane. Now I know Lover's Vow, which is the play featured in Mansfield Park, is an option that Katie mentioned from Books and Things, so I'm definitely going to read that one, but that's only short. 2 others which I've got on me that I have been tempted by are The Devil's Elixirs by E.T.A. Hoffmann of Nutcracker fame. This is like a Faustian sort of book. I think these came out 1815, so right at that sweet spot when she's writing. And some of the Grimm's fairy tales I only discovered yesterday were published during that period, so it might be quite nice to have something completely different. I'm also tempted on my Kindle to read a Mariah Edgeworth book. There's quite a few. I know Belinda was one that's mentioned, but there's a few other ones which I've liked the look of, so I'll see how I feel at the time. So what else? And then we've got watch a direct adaptation. Like I said, I'm going to watch Mansfield Park, but I'll probably watch about 10,000 others as well. Let's be real. Not a direct adaptation, or like a documentary, modern, etc. So I am probably going to try and finish Sanditon series 3, because I never got around to finishing that. And whilst obviously it is based on Jane Austen's Sanditon, it never got finished, and this is 3 series, so we've gone way past the point of where Jane Austen got up to. From Mansfield with Love, Katie again recommended that web series, a bit like the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which I love the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. I've watched them so many times in that vein, so I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm thinking of watching Pride and Prejudice, the Bollywood Pride and Prejudice adaptation, which I watched many times when I was younger. Like, I was brought up watching a lot of things like this, and I've got my mum's DVD copy of it, so I might watch that because I haven't watched it for a long time. So that will be fun. Yeah, and I'll just pick and choose. I like to watch a lot of Jane Austen stuff, so I will try and find some stuff I haven't seen. I would also like to watch some older versions of things. There is like a 1960 something, I think, Sense and Sensibility on iPlayer, or it was anyway. There's a 1980 adaptation of Pride and Prejudice I've never seen. I'd like to watch at least 2 Mansfield Parks. I will rewatch the Billy Piper one, and there's another one again on iPlayer, but I can't remember who's in it, but I think that's from the 90s as well, or late 80s. So that's, yeah, I'll be spoiled for choice. I've got so many things, and I'm so excited to, when I say get started, I've already started. I've already read a Jane Austen related book. Shh. That's part of the project I'm doing. Secret. Shh. But yeah, I think I've got my trusty dragon notebook. Oh, talking of dragons, depending on how I go, do you know how many Jane Austen inspired dragon series there are? Because there's a lot. There's also one called Mary Bennett and the Bingley Codex, which I am tempted to read. Also, not dragon related, but magical fantasy style. There's just so many things I can read. And I'm so thrilled. So thank you to the Jane Austen July people for creating this, and I'm so excited for all the prompts and to try and be on the ball. And I would like to do another video in the month, hence this little project I'm doing. I'm just excited. I'm just gassed. I think the spirit of Jane has entered me this year, and I am just wanting to get my best Regency ball gown on and go stomping the grounds of Pemberley, see some men in white shirts getting wet. Yeah, that's just really my aims in life, to be honest. So yes, that is, do I want to do a little mega pile? I don't know if I'm strong enough mentally, physically, spiritually. It's ridiculous when you put them all together like this. You go, wow, Sarah, once again, ambition is a thing you're really good at. There she goes. Oh my god, there she goes. So yes, that is my TBR for Jane Austen in July. Are you joining in? What's your favourite Jane Austen book or adaptation? Are you in 1995 or 2005? Pride and Prejudice girl. You know, I'm kind of disappointed that the new Pride and Prejudice didn't come out in 2025. Feels like they should have sped up things just to make me feel more satisfied by the fives. What are your thoughts on those adaptations coming out? Because there's a new Sensibility coming out too, and I know some people are like, oh well, they've got their hair down in it, or there's not enough bonnets, and I'm like, I don't care, just give it to me. As long as I enjoy it, I don't mind. Also, because you think the adaptation we just had of The Other Bennet Sister, which was the most perfect thing ever created on earth, just enjoy things. That's what I say, just enjoy things. Anyway, I will see you again soon, promise. Not meant to see me, cross my fingers. I will see you again soon, and I hope you have a lovely Jane Austen in July. Bye bye.